Hey everybody, good morning. Welcome to the Morning Devo with Bo-O. 7:40, August 28th. Pretty early today, but it's going to be a hot day. I put that in the comment corner, and how that's relevant is sometimes when it's going to be so hot, I kind of got to get going early and do my stuff because gosh, it just gets so hot out there. So today I saw we had like I think it was a hot weather warning that was kind of showing up on my app. So I thought, we got to get in the Devo early. I'm not doing a long trip today, like a big motorcycle ride. But welcome. Glad you guys are joining me. My name's Bo Willette. You could always check out the archives right there. Whoop. Just go to my YouTube and click on the search. Go Bo Willette, and you can check out all the past archive shows that we've done throughout the Bible. And today we're in Psalms 5 and 6, and it's great. I love being in the Psalms. We get to kind of see the music life, the prayer life, the meditation life of especially King David, who is a very popular king in Israel. Probably one of the most, I would say, popular kings. And that's always cool, you know. But the richness of the Psalms is just unequal. It is a very rich collection of again, music, of lyrics, the depth of what of emotion that David brings to these psalms is really, really powerful. And we can see right off the bat with the psalms that you can express just about anything to God in these moments of prayer and worship. And I've always heard that the Psalms were used by the Hebrews as in a sense, their liturgy. And if that is indeed the case, could you imagine being in a group of people, right, in a congregation, and singing the Psalms? People sometimes go, "Oh, that would sound so cool," but wait until we read all the Psalms, and then you might go like, "Wow, that is a trip." And so I find it really fascinating that not only is this said maybe in a private context, but also in a public context with other worshipers with you. And again, that emotion that we bring to God. And this is important. You know, it's important what comes out of our mouth to other people. And man, what comes out of your mouth to other people says so much about you. It does. And sometimes, like, the things that come out of your mouth really can put people off, you know, and make people kind of move away from you. But with God, we can say what's in our heart, what's really motivating our speech. You know, we could really get down to the depth of our, you know, the emotional part of what's driving our mouths. You know, we can say, "Gosh, you know, Lord, I feel so fearful." Woo! Well, that's what's driving your mouth, you know. "Gosh, I feel so discontent." You know, "God, help me with that discontentment." That's what's driving your mouth, right? I'm stuck in jealousy. I'm stuck in this, and those things drive so much of not only what we say, but of course our actions as well. And so the Psalms really are special because it really shows us that in life there is a proper place, if you will, to express what needs to be expressed, to really find help from the counselor. And the counselor is God. He is the great counselor. So, O Lord, hear me when I pray. Listen to my cry for help, my King, my God. I pray to no one but you. That's good. Do I pray to no one but God? It's kind of interesting. When I was growing up, I always remember people praying to other things, other people. Oh, I pray to this saint or this person. But here the prayer is only to you. Single focused, dedication. How's that for me today? Am I praying only to God? Am I asking God to what? Pay attention to what? My groaning. Oh my gosh. Doesn't sound too good, does it? My cry for help. Tough situation. And it says, listen to my voice in the morning. It says, each morning I bring my request to you and wait expectantly. I love that. Not only can I bring my groaning and my crying to God, but I also can wait expectingly. Kind of waiting for God. Am I expecting God to do something today? Is that something that's in my mind and in my heart? God, am I expecting you? Or am I clouded, so clouded that I can't see maybe God's ability to do something in my life? That God does have the ability to do something today. King David had a strong faith, certainly, in God's ability to rectify, correct, rebuke, restore, heal. And we see that over in the Psalms. I kind of want to have, of course, that attitude. O God, you take no pleasure in wickedness. You cannot tolerate the sins of the wicked. It just reiterates the truth of God's righteousness. Therefore, the proud may not stand in your presence, for you hate all who do evil. That puts me in the category of all who do evil. Ooh, right? That's why we need salvation. You will destroy those who tell lies. The Lord detests murderers and deceivers. Because of your unfailing love, I can enter your house. It's the only way we can enter the house, man, is through his unfailing love. I love that. That's cool. It's like, because God's righteous. And notice how David never diminishes God's righteousness in these Psalms. He always just lays it on thick that God doesn't like the wicked. God's against the wicked. And man, those wicked people, they're going to get it. And then he says, because of your unfailing love, I can enter your house. Yep. It's got to be your unfailing love. Isn't that amazing? Yeah, we are pretty messed up, but God has unfailing love. Just thinking about that today. I can enter the house because of his unfailing love. Lead me in the right path, O Lord. I love that request. Lead me in the right path, or my enemies will conquer me. Make your way plain for me to follow. There's many enemies out there that want to get us. Many different things that want to come against us. Businesses of the world would love for us to be very much addicted to their products. And they hope we're going to get addicted to their products, because then we can just keep coming back, right? There's so many things that are against us in the world, systems, right? So many different things that really want us to, just be a part of their thing. And, I love how David calls these things enemies, things coming against him, right? And he talks about people that are actually out for him, out to get him off the throne of being king, right? And he says, their talk is foul, like the stench from an open grave. Their tongue are filled with flattery. O God, declare them guilty. Let them be caught in their own traps. Drive them away because of their many sins, for they have rebelled against you. It's a great request. And don't you see how in the Psalms, the prayers are just so blatant, right? Just, God, take care of these people, deal with them. And I love that, how you can go to God and we can ask God, to take care of our enemies. Lord, you do those things. in your time, in your way, Lord, you deal with our enemies. I don't have to. I can relinquish my rights to the Lord, right? Who can deal properly. He can judge righteously. Where so many of the times, we can't. We go too far. We judge wrongfully. And so it says, but let all who take refuge in you rejoice. Let them all sing joyful songs forever. Spread your protection over them, that all who love your name may be filled with joy. For you bless the godly, O Lord. You surround them with your shield of love. Beautiful. Protection of love. That's what it's being referred to there. Loving God's name. We really don't know exactly the name of the Lord. And that's kind of the interesting, kind of quagmire, I guess, of sometimes these passages. What is the name of the Lord? Is it Yahweh? Is it, Jehovah? Is it this? Is it that? We don't know. And is it the I am that I am? That, remember Moses in the glowing bush narrative? Tell him that I am has sent you. Is it the I am? So, but it's the name always, I think, refers to kind of the character. You see that in Israel's life. Their kids are named, and their names mean things. There's meaning, And so when we think of the name of God, we should think of the characteristics of God. And so singing joy, am I joyful? Am I singing songs to God? Do I have God on my heart? Usually we sing songs of things that are on our heart. And, is God, just right there on my lips, ready to praise today? So Psalm 5 is a great psalm. It talks about David's groaning, talks about his cry for help. He really prays against his enemies in this psalm. And we can too. We can talk to God about that. Maybe some of the things that we share to people, we need to just share with God. And that when we share it with people, it's not good, right? It's because it's coming from so much emotion. And again, those emotions like fear or insecurity, different stuff like that, we can share with people, and it's just not good. Instead of what the New Testament says is that when we share with one another, we should be building one another up. We should be encouraging one another. Hey, how are you doing? That's great. How's your family? How's life? How can I be praying for you? That kind of idea. Instead of, hey, how are you doing? And then getting into some, your insecurities coming out, your fears coming out, this kind of thing. And so chapter 6 says, "O Lord, don't rebuke me in your anger or discipline me in your rage." What an honest prayer to God, right? "Have compassion on me, Lord, for I am weak." Oh, what a great admission, right? Of that weakness. I was talking the other day to the church about contrition, that idea of being contrite, right? Understand always your weakness before God. Even when God does amazing things in your life and you feel pumped up, there's always this tension of knowing that you are weak, that you need His grace all the time. "Have compassion on me, Lord, for I am weak. Heal me, Lord, for my bones are in agony. How long, O Lord, until you restore me?" King David sounds like very serious illness, very serious depression maybe. His literal bones ache. He is in agony. He is sick in the heart. That's kind of what we call like an emotional, right, sickness. What we call overstressed, overdepressed, absolute melancholy. Yeah, that's right. The king, the one who is close to God, felt those things. So if you do, you're in good company, by the way. And it says, "How long, O Lord, until you restore me?" Return, O Lord, and rescue me. Save me because of your, what? Unfailing love. Right? David says, you let me in your house because of your unfailing love. Save me because of your unfailing love. For the dead do not remember you. Who can praise you from the grave? I am worn out from sobbing all night. I flood my bed with weeping, drenching it in my tears. Wow. My vision is blurred by grief. My eyes are worn out because of all my enemies. Wow. So much burden on King David. People that maybe seem to have been friendly at one point are now his enemies. People have come against him. Many people. The chips may be down, but he finds himself just in a constant state of weeping. Sometimes we go to people who are weeping and we're like, come on, snap out of it. When, man, there's a lot to weep for. And King David felt this. Notice he wants God to exalt his love. Shine your love in my life. So when people see, me restored, they see your love. That's what David really desired, right? Was for people to see God's unfailing love throughout his healing process. Not just healing David for David's sake per se, but healing David so people could understand God's unfailing love. A heart for God. Very cool. So it says, go away, all you who do evil, for the Lord has heard my weeping. The Lord has heard my plea. The Lord will answer my prayer. All my enemies will be disgraced and terrified. May they suddenly turn back in shame. Again, a note to the enemies of King David, right? That the Lord would, in a sense, heal King David and show his unfailing love to King David. And the enemies would be, in a sense, turned back. I'm sure the idea is that they're laughing at King David. Ha ha, look at you. You're being, judged, but you're being, we're winning, so to speak. But, King David says, hey, turn them back, turn them away. And nothing's wrong with praying that. That's okay to pray that way. And so in the two Psalms, we see some similarities. King David praying against enemies, really focused on that. We also see him, it seems like, quite depressed, crying, very emotional. His whole bed is filled with tears. I mean, man, that's intense. That's kind of like a depression of a depression, it sounds like. But this is what King David, did, was he addressed that depression unto the Lord. He directed his thought life, his prayer life, the emotional part of him over to God. He didn't just call up his friend and say, hey, I'm going to dump on you, man. Humans, we don't know how to deal with that much emotion. We kind of, flop. But yet, God can take all of our emotion. And so it's good to direct our emotions that way, unto the Lord. Sometimes we struggle with people's emotionalism before God. That can be very, sometimes embarrassing to us. They're being too emotional in their, talking to God, or their worship to God. But if we hung out with King David, we would find a guy who was very emotional in his time with God. And we might think that's a little strange. But yet, it's the right thing to do. It really is the right thing to do. A lot of us, when we just think of our lives, we go, man, a lot of times I get in trouble because, again, I'm just saying things to people I shouldn't say. I'm not holding my tongue. Instead, I should go to God and tell God, this is what I think. This is what I'm scared of. This is what I'm discontented in. God, help me. This is where my lust is. This is where my greed is. Father, help me with these things. Deliver me from my enemies. Deliver me. Sometimes your enemy is you. right? Your flesh. Sometimes the enemy's out there. Like I said, it's a system, or the system of the world, right? Out to get you involved in their stuff. But you see David really directing this in the proper way. And so, man, very cool. You might be out there, you might be depressed, you might be melancholy. You might have heard like, oh man, you're just, that's not good, da 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 da. You might have heard those things. Well, it's not that it's great to be, depressed, but there is a time and a place. And sometimes we have things to be depressed about. And we need to direct those emotions unto the Lord. Yeah. And so, very cool. I love 5 and 6. I think those are great Psalms. And I love just the idea of God's unfailing love. David wanting people to see God's unfailing love. Do I want people to see God's mercy in me? Do I want people to see God's grace in me? His unfailing love in me? And that's really the motivation for wanting God to restore me. It's so people see His goodness. Not my goodness, but His goodness. David's always going that direction. And that's so cool. May people see your goodness. Maybe that can be, the prayer of our day. Hey, God, what you do in my life, how you shepherd me, may people see your goodness and your grace in my life. Man, that's a good thing to think about today. So, hey, it's a great, love the Devo, love getting in the Psalms a little bit. This is awesome. There's a ton of them. So I don't know how far we're going to go, but we'll just keep rocking it. Now, some of the comments, let's see, what do they say? Paula just says, good morning. And she's joining a little late. Tina's in the house today. We got Michelle as well that says, good morning. She's got her coffee, it looks like. Happy Monday. I got my plant-based energy today. So that's what I'm repping, if you will. But Casey's in the house too. So good morning to Casey. Thinking about her family as well. Had a good chat with her mom not too long ago, and that was precious. So, hey, may God be with you guys today, and have a great one, okay? Take care. Bye-bye.